Good morning, Buffalo. You are listening to the Buffalo Podcast. My name is Brian Dudeman, my co-host.
Harry Nicole, I'm up now since you clapped your hands.
I'm always up, always ready to podcast.
Good.
Let's ask our guest of the week. Ted,
Hello.
are you up?
I am up.
So you want to give the listeners your titles, your hats. What do you do in the Buffalo film community?
Yeah, sure. My name is Ted Kutina. I think most people probably know me from cinematography stuff. I've done editing stuff, just video things around Buffalo for work. It's what I've done for the past 4 years. It pays the bills and everything, and just helping people out with like short films and everything, and helping build up cinematography skills and helping people out with either student films or short films or theater or whatever. So, yeah.
Very cool. We are going to go into the first segment. Listeners, this is called Fan Mail. So the way Fan Mail works is you guys send in your questions, we ask it on the air. Without further ado, Ari, you want to go ahead and ask the first question?
Yeah, so I have questions here on cards, but just hearing you tell me about like what you do, I'm just gonna ask a different question that's not on these cards. So cinematography is in like you like working behind the camera.
Yeah, for the most part, I think that's how I've that's what I've been the most comfortable with the past like few years or so. I enjoy directing and I've acted a little bit, but I think with all my friends and what we're good at and everything, I seem to fill the role of cinematography and I enjoy it a lot. I love the art of it and it's a lot of fun.
So what camera are you running with right now?
For the longest time, I had a Canon T3. Now I have a Fujifilm X-T3, and that combined with like a little gimbal, like one of those like Steadicam ones, it's like an awesome combo, and it's amazing the shots you can get out of just that simple 1-2 punch. So,
Ted, this question comes from Rachel, 21, and Evans, and she says that she just saw your Buffalo 48. She loved it. The opening sequence with the dancing, how long did that take to get it down? And did you have someone show her how to dance? Was that kind of like improv? Yeah.
well, thank you so much. That scene, yeah, that was all Anna, just like doing whatever. Angel Barber was directing the film. He did a fantastic job. He's really good at like just giving people very specific directions. But he told Anna just like to do whatever, and we would just see what would happen. And it was basically just like improvising, just trying to be as silly as possible. And what I liked about it is like there's brief moments where it seemed like an actual dance, like it was coordinated. Like the first second of the film, she does like a this, and it seemed like a great way to start. But then very quickly you realize, like, oh, she's just fucking around on stage. So, but it was pretty simple. We lucked out with that location. My Keenan, the actor who plays the owner, his girlfriend's dad owns that. It's called the Westfall Center for the Arts, and it was just like a little stage area. So yeah, it was just a matter of lighting that up and filming.
How long did that take to film that opening sequence? Because like you want to grab the audience as soon as like that first second hits, and I think your film does that. Like I was engaged literally by like first frame. So how long did that take?
I'm trying to think. Probably around like an hour or so. It was 2 lights, so it wasn't too bad. It was like halfway through filming. We started with the scene with the nail gun at the end, like that confrontation scene, and we quickly realized like this is taking a long time. So like in the transition over, first of all, we were like, this is really hard, and then we were trying to speed things up a little bit and trying to reduce the lighting and everything. So it only took like an hour and a half maybe. So because we had a lot of other stuff to get to because it's 48
right.
hours.
But I mean that was beautiful. Like I said, it grabbed me, so it did its job.
Thanks. Yeah. And also the background with the gold and the black, it just happened to match the outfit that Anna had. We had a few, but Anna Angel looked at the background immediately. I was like, oh my god, like Anna, like get this dress, like, and it just happened to work. Yeah.
Very next question.
Yeah, I still have these questions on the cards, but this is another one. I'm gonna ask just from me again. As you're speaking, I notice you're very dynamic. I am too. I came from theater, so like, tell me what's your experience in the theater. Like, what have you done in the theater?
I've done a little bit. I was in a small theater camp. It was in East Aurora called Project Stage. It was just a theater camp where I met a lot of my friends and where we got into short filmmaking and everything.
Was it a camp for younger,
Yeah.
older?
It was like a youth like acting camp where we would act for 2 weeks and then do a performance at the end of it. But I've always liked it since then. I've just helped acting in like short films and everything. I did a play in college. It was written by one of the grad students. So that was a lot of fun. But haven't done it in a while.
So this question, because you mentioned the nail gun, I wasn't sure if that was like a spoiler. But I have to ask this since you did bring it up. Were you or the director inspired by Coen Brothers? Because that shot reminds me so much of No Country for Old Men.
Oh, it wasn't directly. We weren't thinking that at the time, but we all loved the Coen Brothers. Obviously, like Miller's Crossing is a lot of our favorite movies. So I think we were also kind of going for that side. And a lot of Coen Brothers stuff is kind of noir and everything, and very. I wish there was more. I had time to do a bit more music and sound design stuff, but I do know what you're thinking about with that middle like shootout scene in No Country for Old Men. There's no music or anything, So that had a bit of viscerality to it. So, yeah, I can see that. Mm-hmm.
We'll go to these cards. So this question is also from me. Do you have any fun stories that you can share about your experience in this year's 48-hour Film Fest? So I know we were talking about it, but do you have like any just like fun, like we were trying to do this and this happened, or something funny that you would have really only experienced from being there?
Yeah, kind of. Not necessarily 48, but the funniest thing was the weekend afterwards. We wanted to help out with Connor's short film that he was just like planning. It's got nothing to do with any of the 48 stuff. But so basically, we did it that whole weekend. We did the 48. We were exhausted at the end of it, and then we were planning on filming a 23-page script the next weekend. Basically, most of the same people, and that was also super exhausting. And it was a whole time. It was a slasher film, and there was all sorts of blood effects and everything, and like gimbal shots and all that. So It was great. Get you a team that is willing to do the 48, and they love it so much that they're willing to do it again. I guess they're very passionate about it. That's why they couldn't make it to the award show and everything, or the screenings, but because they were just exhausted. We were ending until like 4:00 in the morning. And
Costumes. Whose were they? Did you rent any? Stuff like that.
that was just a pile of stuff that were just in a closet somewhere. We had trench coats and like old like caps and things, and I'm trying to remember where it all came from. It was just theater stuff, I guess. Suspenders. We wanted to make sure we had suspenders because we didn't have. We figured if everyone had a trench coat, that'd be a little ridiculous.
Editing. How long did that take? Because you had to do cinematography on Saturday and then edit. So like, how many hours did you spend the editing bay?
Right. That was 4 hours. And it was the slowest. It was the like briefest amount of time that I ever had to like do a project like that. It helped that we had 3 editors, because like there was just we just didn't have like enough time to like do like for one person to do everything.
So 4 times 3, so 12 hours.
12 hours, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and I'm very glad that I did because it allowed me to focus on the stuff that I really wanted to do. I wanted to make sure the beginning was nice and polished and everything. There were scenes that were just like I can't even like think about the editing of this right now, and I passed it over to Connor Greskin and to Caleb Metherall, and they're both like fantastic editors. So it was a relief, honestly, to be able to, because I don't think we would have been able to do that. I did 4 points last year. You get 3 days for 4 points, and I had that whole extra day to like do polishing stuff, which is I need that polishing time. It's important, but the fact that there was 2 other people helping out and like throwing me graphics the whole time, it was a huge help. Mm.
Yeah, so this is another one from me. So what's one of your favorite film projects to date without spoilers?
I wish I remembered the name of it, but it was when I was still in school. There was a Mexican coming of age story. And like it was a very artsy thing. Like I remember having to pick up rose petals off the ground like for a while. But the funniest thing about that is that there was an animal wrangler there, and there was like parrots and like lizards and like chickens and cats, and like it was a whole menagerie, which was a lot of fun. That was years ago, and probably the recent one was my friend Angel Barber's film Honestly Work. That he did for Buff State. He's still a BFA student. And it was with Philip Buffone, Nikki Haley, I think is her name. And it's about a gay man and a divorced woman who just have a night out on the town, and just absolutely, it's like a wild, like, if you ever seen Good Time by like the Safdie brothers, this kind of has that vibe to it. It was a lot of fun. I got to do all the gimbaling and stuff. We were at we were faking a nightclub. There's like a bar called I don't remember, but it was on Allen Street, and it was already perfectly, like, there was lights everywhere, and it was like it was a very authentic gay bar, and it was awesome. We got a drone stuck in a tree while we were trying to do a nighttime driving scene, and there was no way we were going to be able to like pull it off, but like immediately as I was like driving, I was like, this is not going to work. And then I just see on the screen. I'm like, oh no. And we went over to the tree, and like the drone was at the top and it wasn't moving. It was just like buried there. And our grip, Wilding Kiefer was just like looking up at it. He's like, he's like, I'm near my parents. I can grab like a pool net or something. And we're like, please do that. So they fished it. They stood on a truck. They fished it out of the tree, and it turned out fine. It was like 2:00 in the morning or something. Of course, when he was on the truck fishing out the pool net, of course, that's when the cops show up to see like what you're doing and everything. But they were not alarmed. They just thought it was fun and that we were being idiots and students. So
How many 48 projects have you done?
I think I've done 3 in total, counting the 4 points one. We haven't done it since 2017, believe it or not. Because like I was in school and everything, but like we did it in 2017, and that's when I met Jordan Lima, who runs the 48-hour film project, and he really liked the editing and the directing and everything, and he reached out to me about like an internship and stuff. So over the course after finishing school and everything, we can get into it later, but like I worked as an editor for him and helped out with the 48 for a while. But it also means you can't compete if you are helping out with the administrative stuff. So it's only until very recently that I was able to like finally involve myself in everything. So
Those are really good answers. You did a great job.
Thanks.
We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Buffalo Podcast. My name is Brian Dudeman, co-host.
Ari Nicole, yes.
And guest of the week.
Take it deep.
And we'll be back with more listening to the Buffalo Podcast. And we're back. You're listening to the Buffalo Podcast. My name is Brian Dudeman, co-host Ari.
Yes. Dude, man, I'm up. Thank you. Are you up?
I'm always up, always ready to podcast. Ted, you up?
I'm up and I'm down.
Nice.
Down to podcast.
Ari, want us up the next segment?
Right. I was so like enthralled about Wonka elevators. So this next segment we like to call Plug Yourself. So this is where we ask our guests where we might be able to see any of your works outside of this podcast. So do you have any websites where we can find you? Do you have any videos streaming? Anything gonna be premiering live anytime soon? Where in the world is Ted Kutina?
Oh, sure. Probably the most relevant one would be YouTube channel. It's just my name, Ted Kutina. It's where we've been posting most of the films. And we've just been doing regular YouTube stuff. I do like video essays and everything. And Instagram, just Instagram. Like I like do lots of updates on our filmmaking and everything. We have a film with that Connor Gretzkin made that I helped out on that's coming out for the Amazing Fantasy Fest. It's coming soon, or it already happened. Just one One of the two. But yeah, there's a YouTube channel. We also have another channel called Freak Power. We make like an art magazine that has that tries to curate local Buffalo artists and everything they submit to the magazine, and we do all sorts of fun like ads and short films around that. So
A new wave art voice.
trying to, yeah, just trying to,
For those who remember Art Voice.
yeah, just like a zine, where you have poems, paintings, pictures, prose. So yeah, that's probably it.
Sounds cool. Check those out. I like video essays. I like to I like a nerd writer or fold in ideas or like is it thoughts from the screenplay, something like that, or lessons from the screenplay. That's what it was.
Right. Every frame painting is really good.
That one's also good. Yeah.
Start doing new stuff. Yeah. Yeah. I try to do a combination of. Obviously, I'm from the filmmaking world, so I try to like make them as cinematic as possible. But it's also a lot of research. I underestimated how much research you have to do. The first one I did, it was called "The Importance of Real Things," and it's about our how we're leaning more towards digital media now compared to like physical media, like VHSs and DVDs and vinyls and CDs and everything are all kind of going away, and it's all kind of homogenizing into one like streaming service and everything, like just the companies of like Netflix and like Disney and Spotify and everything, and not that and it's really convenient because like you can access all of this stuff at a tap of a screen all the time.
Except when it malfunctions, like mine does.
Yeah, and
All the time. I swear that's why my roommate gave it to me.
right, and they change IPs, like move around, like basically it's most of it is on their terms of how they give this stuff to you. So I just did a video essay on that. The algorithm scooped it up. It's like at like 500,000 right now, which is pretty cool. It's a interesting topic. I think it's going to be more and more relevant as time goes on. So
Now we're going to go into the next segment. This one is called A Hero's Journey. So this is where you get to just tell us how you got your start. What was like the first project you worked on? What have you learned through the years? And is there anything currently right now that you're working on or you're planning to work on in the future? Hero's Journey.
it is cheesy, but I don't remember a time where I didn't want to hold a camera. Maybe like 1 through 4, I didn't know cameras existed, so I was doing child stuff. But like 5 years old, my parents were filming me, and I was like, "Can I hold it? Can I do this?" So I, as a kid, lots of videos with puppets. I had sock puppets. I had like little stuffed animals and everything. I was a teenager. I was in that the theater camp, Aurora Players, with a bunch of people my age, and one of my friends had a script for a fantasy short film called Writer's Legacy, and it was kind of Harry Potter-y. It was kind of like Lord of the Rings-y, and I realized that there's other people my age that want to do the exact same thing. They want to learn about it and everything. So we made short film after short film, like basically from when I was a teenager all the way through middle school and high school and everything. It was a lot of fun, great childhood memories and everything. But around high school, I realized like, okay, this might be the thing that I want to do. And I was really, really lucky because the high school had a film program called Film Academy. It was like 3 classes at the end of the day where you learn like improv acting stuff, you learn writing, and you learn editing. And it was with 2 really good teachers. I'm like really grateful for them.
I'm really jealous.
It was so good. Like I do not take it for granted. It was great. But so they really focused me. We learned a lot in that last year. We got to like make little films, and they got screened like in East Aurora at the Aurora Theater. So yeah, I knew that this is kind of the thing I wanted to do. Went to Savannah College of Art and Design, that's down south, SCAD, and it was intense. It's like a film, fashion, animation school. It's like very much an art school, and there were like 2,000 film people in that program. There were like 10,000 total. So it was intense, and I learned a lot there. Probably not the ways that SCAD were expecting me to learn. I just learned a lot about what kind of people are in this whole thing, and it was competitive. It was a little cutthroat and everything. So there's a lot of people that were like really A-type, wanted to make movies and everything. And I got a lot of value out of that because I learned that it's not the kind of person I want to be. Because it was difficult. There was a lot of egos. It was a very, intense environment and everything. And it was stressful. So I got a dramatic writing minor, and then hung out with a bunch of just writing nerds for a little while, and that was very cathartic. It was great. That was a department of like 30 people. So I wrote plays and short films and stuff. And the senior thesis came along, where you make a short film for your final project. And the whole time I was kind of dreading it a little bit, because you're in Savannah, where they make a fair amount of movies in Savannah. So it's hard to get locations, because it's not exactly like Buffalo. In Buffalo, still people are like, oh, you're making a movie, like a motion picture. Savannah's a little sick of it, where they, that you're like, okay, let's get a permit. Like, this location is going to be $800, blah, blah, blah. So I thought about that, and I thought about the equipment, and I thought about, the film people I knew. And I realized, why don't I just make my senior project in Buffalo? Like, what like over winter break, like, I am friends with everybody. We've been making films since I was a kid. Like, let's just, like, I know a bunch of people who have houses that'll give it away for free. I don't have to rent anything. So most people do it on their second semester, but I just did it over winter break. And it was Alyssa Grace Adams, one of her first projects, like with a short film. That's when we met. And it was a very talented group. That film is just kind of buried somewhere. I it's on like a website or something. But I came back to school with that film. It was already shot. Like, I was like, I'm in the clear. This fantastic. That was 2019. That went into 2020. The second semester, the last class, I got a text saying that the last quarter is going to be entirely online, and I was like, what does that mean? How can an entire film school be online? So I went home. I flew home. All I had the editing for that senior thesis, and I had storyboarding. So I was really lucky that I could do everything online. Didn't really get to graduate. It was over Zoom. It was at everyone's house. They told you to turn your tassels over. It was in our pajamas. I was like, whatever. And it COVID shenanigans, like, I was just like at my house a lot of time, who knows if it didn't happen, if I like graduated in Savannah, maybe I would have like had enough initiative to go to like New York or LA or something, but it just wasn't feasible at the time. So I'm happy with all the decisions I made, but I think about that sometimes. But so, COVID shenanigans for like 3 months. I finally got in touch with Jordan Lima, which I forgot to mention. I think we mentioned it earlier, but I did the 48 in 2017, and he watched that. He liked it a lot, and he reached out to me and said, if you ever want any internship for editing or for whatever, just reach out. And we communicated a little bit, but at the 3 months into COVID, he was like, yeah, I think we're ready to take you on. And I worked at Lemur Studios with Jordan Lima, Tyler Burgett. We did lots of ads for Celino Law, for Independent Health. There was a thing called First Night Buffalo, which was like a New Year's celebration for kids, where there's like performers. There's DJ Milk, Jeff the Animal Guy, Nick the Magician, and there's like just a bunch of like stuff that was like a lot of fun to film. And so I was doing that. I was doing short films on the side, just figuring out kind of what to do. And over time, I started to miss the 48, because Jordan and Lemur Studios, they're in charge of the 48. They do administrative stuff. Although they run it in Buffalo. So I was ushering, I was like editing the trailers. Trailers were a lot of fun. But I think there was a bit of a sense that I was missing out on. It was a little bit of FOMO. The analogy I came up with was like, if you're playing, if you really like baseball and you think you're really good at baseball and you want to get into it. And suppose like you do a really good job in literally, I don't know how the divisions work or whatever, but you do very well in baseball, and someone comes out to you, it's like, oh my god, like you're great at this. Like, how would you like to manage baseball? And I'm like, that sounds amazing. Like, I would be doing nothing but baseball, but
assistant to the traveling secretary.
yeah, something like that. It's like, you're helping out with baseball, and but you don't actually get to go down and play it. So
No one gets the Seinfeld reference. That's okay.
oh, I'm sorry. But
You're probably younger than me.
I've watched a few episodes of Seinfeld. I've never fully dove into it. But yeah, so there's a lot of reasons why I left and everything, but I think that was a part of it. I wanted to participate in the community, and I wanted to play ball. So so far it's just been little editing gigs. Now I'm looking for other stuff, doing a bit of freelancing, and now we're here right now. So that's the full thing. Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. So you said right now you're just waiting for more opportunities to do more filming, that you yourself don't have something that you're working on right now?
Yeah, right now it's been I'm doing a film with Angel Barber soon. It's been, we're just planning out like little short films that we want to do on the side, and I forgot to mention also, I started doing YouTube. Just I'm looking at different avenues for business and revenue, or whatever. So it's like, maybe I could try YouTube and see how it goes. So I started doing a couple video essays. We were talking about the importance of real things and everything, and that was doing well enough that I could make a little bit of money off of it. It got like 500,000 views. So starting to do that with a little bit of like had some AdSense on the side, and a few sponsors reached out and wanted to do it. So I did one with there's a program called Milenote. I did an essay on liminal spaces and why it's so hard to capture a liminal space on like a photo. So a little bit of that, like making some revenue on the side. Something more stable would be nice, like in another thing like Lemur Studios. If you're hiring, let me know. It's just, but just freelancing and editing stuff.
Sounds good. That's going to do it for Hero's Journey. We're going to take a quick break, come back with final thoughts. You're listening to the Buffalo Podcast. My name is Brian Dudeman, co-host.
Harry Nicole, always up.
Guest of the week.
Ted Kutina.
And we'll be right back with more. And we're back. You're listening to the Buffalo Podcast. My name is Brian Dudeman.
Harry Nicole, yes, I'm up.
Did it. Nailed it.
I knew you were going to clap again if I didn't respond in time, so I got you.
Guest of the week, Ted. Are you up?
I am up.
Nice.
So
this segment is called Final Thoughts. This is where we get to ask you what you thought being on the podcast. Any advice you would give for future guests. And yeah, final thoughts.
Great. Well, thank you so much for having me on. This is great. I think this is a great way to highlight local artists in the community and everything, because you think about something as vague as like the art community or the film community or something, and there's this amorphous blob, but the fact that you're actually like talking to people that and that we know and everything, like it's like, oh, there is kind of like a network going on, like with the 48 and everything, and so yeah, thank you so much for having me on.
If you have any advice for the future filmmakers, anyone who wants to get into the business, anyone who maybe is like stuck and hitting a roadblock, go for it.
Okay. I think I have two things. First of all, the 48 is an amazing crash course in filmmaking, in networking and talking to people and everything, and collaboration. I think it's probably the single most like educational thing you can do as a filmmaker, and if you're in Buffalo, is reach out to communities of people who are doing the same thing, and just learn about them. But there's a whole range, like at the 48, there's people who this is the only film they make the entire year, they do it for fun, and there's people that do this every year and they do it all the time and they're amazing. So like you get a whole range of people at different levels while they're like making this, and it's very educational, and I feel like it's a one-way ticket to being in the community with people. So there's that for sure. Just to zoom out, like my thoughts on like filmmaking and art and everything, I think art is like one of those fundamental pursuits like math or science or like English or something. There's a reason why it's taught in schools. There's a reason why I was taught it in school, the film and everything, is because it's a very it's an important pursuit. And I feel like a lot of like when you're practicing art, you see all of the amazing things that people make, and the great conversation that happens with like incredible works, and you're like, I want to do that. Like that's amazing. I want to do stuff like that, and it's a noble pursuit, but also recognizing that when you are making just art, like when you are having a relationship with the art that you make, that's still a part of the conversation. You're not like left out. You're still doing the thing that everybody does when they sit down and they want to make the thing that they want to make. Like it's the same stuff, you know. If you want to be good at it, you know, and you want to be recognized for it, it's a lot of work, obviously, you know. 10,000 hours is a good start. And there's a lot of luck involved, so you have to have like a wide net to like catch those things and know when it happens and how to use it and everything. It takes a lot of practice, but yeah, I think the most important thing is just recognizing that we're all making art, and it's the same. It's everything is valid. Everything you make is valid.
I definitely agree with that. That art is just as important as math, science, and anything else taught in school. And a good example, I mean, we personally weren't there, but you look back at the Great Depression of 1929 when most people were losing their jobs and scraping by on pennies. Like, yeah, we're at kind of a recession right now, but it was nothing like 1929, and yet still people were going to movies and seeing shows because art was so important to escape the tragedy that we were living in. And so to this day it's just as valid, it's just as important. You know, a lot of times people who go for a career like you do are told, you know, that's not a very logical type of career choice to go to, but everybody who's ever done it has probably been told that, and those who've succeeded didn't listen. So, sure. You know, yeah. I agree. It is definitely very valid. It's a very good career choice, and I see many great things coming from you in the future.
Thank you so much. Thanks, I appreciate it. And even we were talking about COVID, like, you know, the first thing to go, like service workers, essential workers, you know, and artists were kind of the first thing in the infographics to be taken out. And it's like, okay, sure, like if you have to survive, then maybe art's not the priority. But if you think about it, like Bo Burnham's Inside is a COVID beast. That's a work of art, and it's one of the best works of art ever to come out of COVID. If he didn't do that, if he was like, this isn't essential, this is a waste, throughout the whole thing, he's like, I feel like I'm wasting my time. But what he said resonated so hard with everyone who was living through that situation, and especially if you're an artist, especially, you know, if whatever situation you were in with COVID. So it's always important.
So we just have two more things before we close out this episode. So this is something that I do when I remember. You can ask either Ari or myself one question. We try not to make it both.
A lot of people break that rule.
Yeah.
It's his rule anyway, not mine.
It's kind of a general one, but assuming you guys would make like a feature film or something, like, or a really big project, if you had the resources, what would that project be, do you think? Like, what sort of genre? What would you want to say in it? You know, is there anything you would want to explore with it?
I plead the fifth.
Damn.
And so I do have a feature film that's tied to an anthology series, that is still like in pen and paper form. That being said, I don't have a cameraman.
There you go.
So, but I mean, it's big. I would need a full outdoor concert arena for the film, and I started writing this before the virus, so hence why it's still in pen and paper form, because when that hit, there were no concerts, indoor, outdoor, or otherwise. I know now we're finally getting them back, but again, it wouldn't be cheap. So we're definitely going to wait for the budget on it. But it's like kind of sci-fi thriller-ish.
Oh, nice. Mm.
Yeah, sci-fi supernatural thriller.
That's the
type.
one you would make if you had all the resources for it.
Well, I mean, it's gonna happen. It's not at this moment. It's not ready at this moment. But yeah, there's a feature film and an anthology series that are kind of tied together by a scene in a pawn shop.
Oh, cool.
Pretty sure I still have that location marked down of the pawn shop. So yeah, we were actually really, really hoping to get this done in 2020, and then yeah.
Right. Yeah.
We were slated to start in May of 2020, but March of 2020 came first. And anyway, coming soon at some point in the future.
What's the sci-fi thingy, like the thing that makes it sci-fi?
There's a lot of just supernatural occurrences that happen. It would be just a little bit of a spoiler to give away the full sci-fi element, but we could talk in the future about it.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm still obviously looking for a team.
Yeah, of course.
So we've been doing this for a few weeks, and I think it's a great way to close out the podcast. So, Ted, what is one thing in your life that makes you happy? What is one thing that keeps you motivated? What is one thing that just you're so happy that brings you so much life?
Probably all of the people that I know in Buffalo, honestly. Like I have a very fortunate friend group. There's a lot of us, and we really look out for each other. And you know, that it goes back to what I was thinking. Like, oh well, what if I went to New York? What if I went to LA or anything? But you know, the fact that I stayed here and I reconnected with all the people that I knew from high school and everything, and met a bunch of new people from school. The fact that I have like such a group of people that I can really spend time with and really talk to and make stuff with and collaborate with and everything. I'm overwhelmed by how grateful I am at that every day. Like it makes me really, it makes me feel loved and safe and happy. So,
Ted, thank you so much for being a guest on the Buffalo podcast.
Yes, thank you for joining us in our Buffalo film community instead of taking off elsewhere. Not saying you can't take off elsewhere when you want to, but we're very happy to have you here.
We have 3 episodes left.
Oh, really? It's flying by.
So, until next time, Buffalo, I've been Brian Dudeman, my co-host.
Erin Nicole, as always.
And we just have one question for you, Buffalo. 1, 2, 3.
You up?
let's start with the T. So we're just gonna do like a little bit of that, and then we're gonna do that, and then go down there. Not any year or anything. Doesn't look like anyone did that. So there you go.